Alrighty then, so now that we have our goofy little environment dragged down, we're gonna, like I said, haul this animation kicking and screaming into Unreal. So, to do that, this is with like there's like two small tweaks that I did to this rig that'll make things a little bit sort of maybe weird, but it worked earlier, so I'm gonna kind of run with it. Also, this sack doesn't look super amazing low poly, which is unfortunate. This was definitely designed to be a smooth mesh, but it does hold up reasonably well, so we're just gonna, again, kind of run with it. I love whatever this is. Like, what? Weird slug. Anyway, alright. So we have our flour sack. This is all the controls and random stuff for the rig, most of which are turned off via display layers, because I hate them. And the mesh itself for the flour sack. So what I'm going to do is just go through, select all of that stuff, lots of keyframes, and I'm going to go ahead and do an export selection. And this one you do need to do FBX, otherwise you will not get the animation. So, we do FBX. We tick the animation box, and then we can define the frame range that we care about here. In this case, I'm just doing whatever the full-time slider is, because I know that's how long the animation was. So you also want to make sure that it's grabbing deformed models. This is, you know, the skin, the mesh, the actual sack geometry of the sack. Definitely wasn't watching some tutorials about Unreal 10 minutes before I started this. Apart from that, the settings should be the same. Embed media if you want it. Keep the scale factor I found to be super helpful. And then we're just going to go ahead and say sack unbaked. I'm actually going to add, I'm trying to be organized with this for once. So we're going to go through and it's going to export that. And we're going to go back into Unreal, because actually, well, I'll preface. So usually it's like, here's some random warnings and errors, and you can ignore those 99% of the time. Alright, so go back into Unreal, do the same thing again, right click. You can also, there's also an add new and an import button literally right there. For some reason I just like right clicking. Clicking is fun, darn it. Grab your animation, and here are some settings that actually sort of matter. So, skeletal mesh, import mesh. This is like the bind skeleton, or like the geometry of the rig itself. Please, for the love of God, tick the import animations box. It turned itself off on me once, and then I spent 45 minutes yelling at my computer, being like, dear God, why aren't the animations coming in? And I'm like, I didn't tick the box. It happens to everyone. Don't feel bad about it. Alright, so anywho, convert scene. Leave all this stuff more or less as is. And then we should be good, I think, to go ahead and import. If you're using the same skeleton, there's like some weird, still kind of like hairy on this, but like, yeah, sometimes specifying a specific skeleton, once you've already imported some stuff, I believe it'll just sort of share that, but I could be wrong. Basically though, if this is none, it'll bring in its own new skeleton, not try to attach to anything in the scene, is my current understanding of that option there. Like I said, I could be entirely wrong. So, it's going to flash up a bunch of random yellow stuff. If it's yellow, it's fine. If it's red, it's probably not going to import. But either so we have all of this wonderful nonsense in our scene now. So if you double click on this little model, also if you mouse over these, it'll tell you, like, this is the animation sequence, this is the physics asset, whatever the hell that is. Here's the rig, and here's like the model. So if you double click on the model, you can preview it. And then you should be able to click on this preview animation, and assuming that there is some animation attached to the skeleton, you should be able to click it, and it will preview it. And in this case, it's severely broken. There is apparently one weird step that you need to do that I have not had to do in any other game editor, but here we are. I will show you my weird fix that sort of helped fix whatever this insane stretching is. So I'm going to close this window, and just... Actually, I want to try a thing really quick. I don't know if this is going to work, but we're going to find out. So that thing that you need to do is baking the keyframes. And what baking is will be hopefully fairly obvious. Oof. kind of a weird rig setup. So I'm going to go ahead, I didn't make this rig, full disclaimer. I'm going to go ahead and just select all of these joints here. So if you go into your outliner, in this case for this specific rig, again, look for the root_int. and then just, oh, sorry, that's JNT for joint. I was like, why is int? That doesn't make sense. Alright, so select all of the skeletons. They have these little purple doodles next to them. You don't need to worry about the constraints, the effectors, anything else. You only care about these little purple elbow joint doodles. So go into your animation menu, keyframe menu, and go down to the Bake Animations and open this tick box. So there's assorted things that you can click here. So selected is going to be, again, all the stuff you selected. Below, I believe this would be if you just selected the root joint, it would grab everything below it in the hierarchy. I just like selecting stuff. I don't know, it feels safer for some reason to me. But they should basically function the exact same way for what we're doing now. All keyable is going to be translate, rotate, scale. If you wanted to select like only bake the translation, you could, highlight these here, switch this to from channel box, and it would only bake translation. In this case, we do want all of them. And you can set different start and end frames if you care. We're just going to go time slider because that's what we're doing. And you can, ooh, that's fun. I actually didn't notice that before. So animation layers, basically, if you've, like, display layers, there's also layers for animations. You can sort of build animation on top of itself. To be honest, for, like, simple animations, I don't usually find that to be super helpful. In this case, it might be kind of convenient, but I'm just going to go ahead and do base animation. Before you do this, please, for the love of God, save a different version of your file. So if you're, like, doing animations version 5, save animations version 5 baked. Because this is going to basically make it almost impossible for you to edit keyframes after you do this. Again, you can use display layers to keep it simple, just save a new file, bake it, but we're going to apply this. It's going to run through your whole animation and put a keyframe on every single frame for every single joint. So, yeah, it does make it incredibly hard to actually animate. And look at all those beautiful keyframes just everywhere on every single joint. So good fun. Very, very awful. But we're going to go ahead and just do another file export selection. And I'm going to call this one baked because I have baked the joints. So you're also supposed to do this for the camera if you're exporting that. Again, I haven't really had any luck doing that, so I'm probably not going to make a tutorial on that. We'll go ahead. Now we have an FBX. And theoretically, there's a thing that you can do if you double click. Oh wait, no, that was dumb actually. Sorry. So sad. Theoretically, if you overwrite the file name, so like if I were to overwrite this sac_anim unbaked file, you can just right-click on that or like double-click and do re-import, and it should refresh the animation. So if you need to do tweaks, you don't need to like bring everything back in again. But for now, since I didn't do that, I'm just going to go ahead and import a new baked animation. Same settings as before, and again, currently there's no rigs in the scene, so there's no rigs that pop up here. Cool. And we import that. Close this random box of errors. Alright, so hopefully if we double click this and we do preview animation, I can also just click directly on the animation. It still looks a little weird because it's low poly, but you can see that it's not exploding quite as aggressively as it was previously. So, if you have issues importing your animation, totally should bake the frames. And then what you should actually be good to do, it's so stupid, you should be good to throw your goofy little sack dude into your scene. And I'm actually not sure what's going to happen. Okay, cool. So I started the character on the origin when I was animating this, which might not always be the case. But in this case he was on the origin, so he should start out in the correct location. There is one thing that you can do. So there should be like a master control for, turn on the controls. So like this master control, if you need to, if you need to move your rig, oh wait, no, actually, sorry. No, I'm lying. Since you baked your animation, all of the joints themselves have these translate, scale, rotate values like baked into them or set for each frame, so you should be good, I think, to zero this out. And when you zero it, it's going to go back to where it was in this frame, unless I'm going crazy. But if you ever need to move your whole character, there is this master control group, and normally it would take the rig with it, but since I baked the animation, it no longer is controlling the rig itself. So like I can, you know, I can move these controllers, and normally that would control the top of the head, but in this case it's not, because the baking the animation basically removes control from the controllers, which is like also why I said save that in a different file. Version frequently, especially if you're about to bake anything. Anywho, that's pretty much getting your animation in. I think, yeah, so I just want to go over a little bit about cameras and a tiny bit about texturing and lighting, and then just like how to compile stuff. But that should be more or less all you need to get most of your stuff from Maya into Unreal. And just for grins, this is entirely okay. This is entirely experimental, but I just want to see what happens. Actually, no, I don't. Sorry. Yeah, that's the end of this video. Cool. I'll see you guys in the next one.